Welcome back to Coach's Corner. I'm Coach Eaton. You guys already know me. Here with my special guest today. If you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Adam Antor. I guess I go by Coach Antor. We'll see if I keep that.
Fair enough. So, with that, kind of tell us a little bit about your journey in collegiate esports and kind of your path forward.
Oh yeah. Where should I start? Well, it goes back to starting the program at West Catholic High School. I was a marketing director there at the time, and I ended up starting a high school team just for fun. And that started snowballing into the opportunity to talk to Aquinas College, where I was eventually offered a full-time job to be their head coach, and I took it. And then 2 years later, I accepted my current position, which is at Florida Southern College as their director of esports down in Florida. And in the fall, I will be heading to Big Rapids, Michigan, to be the assistant professor of professional esports production. Kind of hanging up the competitive side to start teaching the next generation of industry professionals.
Well,
Really
we're
excited.
very excited to have you on campus, and I know we're excited for that big reveal as well. I think a lot of people will be somewhat surprised, but we're definitely excited to have you here on campus. What
I'm
made you
really excited.
transition away from the competitive side into that more academic side?
Ooh. I've always wanted to teach. Teaching has been something that's kind of knocked on in the back of my head for a while. I've always liked sharing what I've learned with others. And Ferris's esports production major has excited me since they first announced it. The timing just worked out really well. I'm excited to get back to Michigan. And I'm also excited to take a step back from the competitive side for at least a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. A lot of other people I've talked to want to head into that academic area, but there hasn't been a lot of opportunities. From my understanding, where you're the if not one of the first actual full time tenure professors, specifically in the esports world. How does that feel to be leading the industry that way?
Terrifying. But also similar to how I probably felt when I took my first full-time job in collegiate esports. It was like 2019, and at the time there was only four varsity teams in Michigan and a handful across the country, and um, there wasn't a lot of people paving the way ahead of me at that point. And now it's going to be similar again in a different role. So terrified. Who knows what it'll look like? The industry, I'm assuming it's going to be great. I mean, I'm jumping in leap of faith here a little bit, but I'm also excited. I'm really excited. I'm optimistic about the future, especially as more and more academic programs kind of appear across the country. We have a talent gap, in my opinion. We have a lot of jobs appearing and not enough qualified candidates to fill them. And that's been hurting collegiate for a while. So I'm excited to hopefully be a part of that.
Absolutely. A lot of the students that I talk to, a lot of the students in my program and other programs that I've talked to want to be directors, but they just don't have a path or they don't know what to do.
Right.
This degree, can help them in that if that's what they want to do, but also go into that production side. So having a lot of expertise in one space is going to help a lot of our students grow, which is a big reason that I'm excited to work alongside you going forward.
Yeah, we're gonna make some awesome stuff happen. I'm really
Yes.
excited. I've been following Ferris Esports for a while now, and to think that I'll be able to help and be a resource and build the academic side is exciting.
That's great news. When it comes to the current work job and the previous jobs that you've had, how do you measure the success of your esports program, both in terms of player performance and overall like program growth?
That's a that's a great question, and it varies by program. I'm sure you know that. It varies by school institution. First and foremost, the goals of my programs have been determined by the administration of the college. Most often times, it's recruitment driven. How many students can you bring into the school? Um, what interested me about Florida Southern and had me take the job eventually was that they were less recruitment focused, but more competitive focused. In both of my roles, I've been given a set of goals, but then I personally have come up with stronger ones, I guess. I like to tell my players all the time that I don't settle for mediocrity, and that's true. Our goal at the beginning of the season for our League of Legends team was to make top 32, and we did it, which was super exciting, a lot of fun making it to the national tournament. Rocket League, our goal was to win a Peach Belt title, conference title, and we did that, which was super fun. And Overwatch was to continue the growth that we had started the year prior, and to get more and more competitive. And we really accomplished that as well. So I love the competitive side in terms of winning. I love winning. I think most people love winning.
Yep.
So a lot of my goals are going to be competitive focused. But I also had goals to create more of a better work-life balance for myself. When I started in collegiate esports, it was a one-person show, a lot of hours. And over the last 4 years, over 2 programs, a goal of mine has been to utilize both coaches, part-time coaches, and students to empower them to be able to eventually give myself a better work-life balance. And I think I achieved that goal as well, to an extent. We all still work too much, but
Yes.
that was always a goal of mine. So
Yeah, I've always been a big proponent of work-life balance. Andrew's definitely, my bosses have pushed that on me. But this past year, so much has been happening with the new building coming that it's just like, hey, maybe I'll do a little bit extra today. Maybe I'll do a little extra this week, and it ends up at the end of the year. You're like, okay, I ended up working quite a bit. But it's nice to be doing it not because you're forced to, and because you see the growth in what can happen if you put that little bit extra in, right? So
that's very true.
But that's why a lot of us do it is we're given too much, but we can make so much happen with the little resources that we have. And especially as we're continuing to get more and more resources like we are here at Ferris, the new facility, you coming in as well, all those additional resources will really, really help push what we can do in the way we've trained our students. We've got a phenomenal student staff. We've hired on 15 student workers to help, whether it be content production, managing the room, and kind of pushing that forward. We've got interns working on a video intern working on a whole new graphic assets package going into next year. So coming out in the fall will be completely different from what we were this year. We're excited for it.
That's awesome. I'm so excited about this building. I keep going back to the press releases and reading it just to, I don't know, keep hyping myself up. I'm so excited.
Yes, we're going to be in there.
You just shared the PCs you ordered. I'm like, oh my gosh, my mouth is salivating. We're going to have so much fun. I'm excited.
I've been super thankful for the administration support. Both the previous administration and this current administration have been fantastic when seeing the value in it right away and just going, yes, why don't we just spend the money that it takes to make it happen the right way? Which a lot of places aren't doing, right? You're seeing a lot of these like if you get X amount of students in seats, then you can get X amount of dollars. But here it's about that student involvement. And we realized this year was the first year. Every year at the beginning of the year, there's a big movie and sports night in the football field. We're like, hey, it's move-in week, the second day. Come out here, everybody get to meet each other. Well, there's a large portion of kids that don't want to go do that, right? So this year, those are the types of students that we typically reach with esports anyway. This year, I went to housing and was like, hey, can we do an event in the esports the practice facility that we currently have up and running? Can we do like board games, card games, and esports stuff? And they're like, yeah, that's cool. And we had 70 kids show up. And that first week and just hang out there and meet each other and get to know each other. So that's the type of student population that we're really reaching that hasn't been reached before on campus.
That's awesome.
How do you see the future of collegiate esports, and what are you doing to stay ahead of the curve?
Oh, gosh. I think the academic side will continue to grow. I think just hearing about some of the growth in terms of the interested students just at Ferris State in their program with little to no like promotion and pushing. I think it's a indicator of what will probably happen across the country in terms of academic programs that are added. And that's super exciting. I think the academic side is one of the fastest growing or potentially the fastest growing parts of this whole industry as I'm looking forward the next 3 to 5 years. Competitive side, I think, will continue to grow. I think we're getting to a point where we've kind of have almost a mass adoption from the small schools because it was so rapidly grew. Obviously, there's still schools that need to hop on that train. But I think the big growth side from a competitive, but also like general recreation and student involvement is the D1s. We're seeing some of the D1s hire directors of esports or assistant director within Rec and Wellness. We look at Michigan, Michigan State, Central Michigan, Western Michigan. I mean, Michigan's kind of a big dog in the collegiate scene. But across the country, we're seeing more and more D1 positions get posted, and that's really exciting to see because there's so much more potential in terms of growth when we talk about students involved, as well as resources, as well as just what they can do when we talk about D1 institutions that are just massive schools. So that's really exciting for me. Whether they ever pivot more towards competitive in terms of their resources, I think is a question that we'll all be wondering over the next 3 to 5 years. I think a lot of the directors being hired have a competitive itch, but I don't know if their admins do. That's going to be the question I have.
Yeah, the way that I see it is if you build that community on campus, there's some of the biggest schools with a lot of the brightest students already, right? So you're gonna find those individuals who are very fantastic at those games with even with nothing. You look at U of M, you look at MSU, they haven't had much like structural support from the beginning for the past couple of years, but they've still been
Right.
dominant in those games. So you get someone in there who wants to
Right.
do that, they can very easily make that happen.
Yeah. But what happens if you do put some of the resources that the smaller schools are putting in at a D1? I
Yeah,
mean, that's where things start unlocking. Because if you've got the base talent, but then you have a little bit of resources to pull some additional talent, I mean, it's hard to think that the small private schools that are currently dominating the space will continue to dominate from a competitive standpoint, if that were to happen. But
absolutely.
it's not guaranteed.
Correct.
So
Even with those schools, you have to continue to win, or like if you don't win for a year or two, nobody goes there anymore, and your whole recruitment pipeline kind of falls
yeah,
apart, right? So
it's tough. At least the talent doesn't come. I mean, for some reason, if Northwood stopped losing for 2 years, like the top Overwatch players probably wouldn't come to Northwood, but you'd still have people interested in Northwood and what they're
correct,
offering. They just wouldn't be as competitive. So,
correct.
um,
And
yeah,
I think
yeah,
long term, it will stabilize like that. You will see some of the smaller schools. I mean, look at Notre Dame; they still participate in big D1 athletics, even though they're not nearly as big as a lot of those other schools, because they've been in since the beginning and they've been good since the beginning. So if you can establish
right.
yourself in that realm, it can happen. And I think there is space for that in the esports world. But
Yeah,
um,
for sure. Yeah,
go ahead.
there's I would just say just overall, there's just so much potential for growth, and it's not just in one area. I mean,
Yes.
we got academic, we have competitive, we have student rec and wellness. I mean, there's just so much potential. We might think that, oh, we're like at a peak, or maybe we're plateauing, but we're not even we're not. That's all
Yeah.
I gotta say. Like we're in a very small echo chamber of like the same 30 to 100 directors talking about the same stuff, but there are so many more programs that I don't even know about that are starting or thinking about starting, and it's exciting.
Absolutely. And to just see the level of investment from Ferris over the past couple of years grown like crazy just from seeing what we're doing. To look at these other schools and just have like, they're not quite there yet, but they're getting there, watching everybody grow at the same pace. I know in Michigan we have that Discord for directors where we help each other out. And that's been a great resource for me, right? Like I know my one thing, and that's production. But you can go to someone who's good at recruiting, and like, hey, give me tips on this. And all of us, as soon as we get to that top 1%, where we're all 99% where we need to be, we're going to be a little bit more withholding of those industry trade secrets,
Yeah.
right? But everybody has so
Right.
far to grow at the moment that if I
Yep.
help out somebody build their production studio, they're not going to then come in and take all of my market share. It's just, okay, another
Right.
person that's doing the same thing. So it's really cool to see the community
Yeah.
investing in each other, especially in the best state in collegiate esports over here in Michigan. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think it also shows that like the greatest pain points that we all are facing are the same, and they're irregardless of what other people are doing. I mean, we talk about resources from our administration. We're talking about work-life balance. We're talking about a little bit of recruiting, but not even like I don't think that's a big pain point for a lot of people when we think about big issues. But all of those issues, we can help each other and not make ourselves in a worse position. And I think that and us to realize that I think is really important. So yeah, I echo that sentiment.
absolutely. What do you see being one of the pitfalls in teaching esports production, and how are you kind of trying to avoid those?
Pitfalls. Well, I've never taught before in a classroom setting. That is something that will be interesting. I'm not. I'm very excited. I know I'm going to be able to do it. But it is different. It's different. Swapping from a competitive side to traditional teaching in the classroom is going to be different. Pitfalls. I think another one that's really I'm interested to see how I tackle it and how I change over the years is esports changes so fast. Some of the textbooks that I read 3 years ago, well, not textbooks, but books, they're already outdated. So it's going to be a constant struggle of like, yeah, we're going to use this semester, but here's all the things that we need to talk about, and realize that they're not accurate anymore. I mean, we talk about like streaming platforms change frequently. Technology is always advancing. The state of the industry in the last year has changed from a professional standpoint so vastly. It'll be very difficult to teach that because there's just not going to be materials out there, at least that are vetted by peers at this point. So trying to keep up with that is going to be tough for academics all across the country teaching esports. It's going to be tough, but it's also exciting. We're not going to be teaching the same algebraic equation that we've been teaching for 150 years. So that's kind of exciting to me.
Yeah, because you definitely see those disciplines where it is the same thing. Some people can get pretty, burnt out of like, okay, again, it's the same week 7, as the last 10 times. So here we go. I've had professors too that not necessarily on any fault of their own, but they're just at the end of their career. Like, I've been doing this for 25 years. I've done this lesson before, or they'll forget like, oh wait, we didn't teach that last time. I thought we taught that lesson before. My bad. But you're just like, oh, you don't even know where you are in this class. But in a world that changes so quickly, you have to stay on top of that. So it's going to be fun to see how we do that. As far as teaching stuff goes too, we've got fantastic resources on campus. Anybody who teaches academically, reach out to your professional development teams, reach out to your e-learning departments. They are the people who know how to help you make those courses as solid as possible. What do you want to say?
I feel confident I'll be taken care of. I'm excited. I'm anxious, excited, slightly terrified, but more excited. So
yes, that's a valid way to think about it, and being excited is fantastic. I know all of my students are very excited to learn about who it is who's going to be taking that position over. What do you want to say to some of those students? That a lot of the students actually tune in and watch all of these Coaches Corners, so they'll be here watching. What do you want to say to some of them?
I'm excited to have them. I am so excited to be a resource on campus for whoever needs it. I have found a great passion in helping students navigate esports, learn about esports, find jobs in esports, and I'm really excited to be able to help Ferris State students in a more kind of pointed way in the role of a professor. I'm really excited, and come with questions. I think esports is such an interesting area of study, and I'm really excited to be a part of it, and come ready to learn, come ready to challenge. I'm really excited to have conversations with students, not just talk at them, because we're all learning about esports alongside each other, and that's really exciting.
For sure. I know that the students that I do know who are in the program are the ones, a lot of my team captains, a lot of my students who are representing Ferris exceptionally well. So they're ready for you, and they're going to have a ton of questions, and they're going to be super involved. We had one of the students actually did Medify coaching through the C9 Academy program, and actually talked to asked so many questions. The coach said, "Hey, I'll do a private session with you after this if you let other people answer some stuff." And that coach ended up coaching our Valorant team for a few weeks just because the student was so excited about the subjects. So
that's awesome. I will try not to hold any losses against them or bad decisions, but I'll probably be one of the biggest fans of the esports program. And I don't, like I said, I don't settle for mediocrity. So y'all better be winning.
That's fair.
That's the goal.
True. We've got our championship match coming up on best of 5 Valorant match on Monday. So that'll be, starting at 8 p.m. So we're going to be here.
What?
Yeah, we're going to be here late, but that's fine. We're excited for that team. So, but what other kind of thoughts and messages do you have for anybody following your career and just kind of the rest of your plans?
I don't know. I'm excited. I would say that I've gotten lucky a lot of times in my career so far. I've taken a lot of risks. Most of them have paid off, and it's been exciting. I mean, it's been an adventure. I mean, 5 years ago, if you told me I was going to be doing esports anything full time, I would have laughed at you. And now I'm going to be a professor, which is crazy and exciting. And I'd encourage everyone listening is like, if you want to do something, like try it, learn about it, ask whoever's doing it. And if no one's doing it, maybe you're the first or the second. I don't know, that it's just exciting. I love that. I owe a lot of what I know to past directors before me who have been resources and willing to answer any of my questions. And there's so many of them that I know I would forget one, and I don't even want to name one. But you all know, if you're following the scene, anyone you know, they've helped me at some point with a question or an answer. Or a challenge. Maybe it's a Twitter conversation where they tell me I'm an idiot, and then we have a real conversation. Those people have helped a great deal. My past part-time coaches that I've had, some of them are now leading D1 programs, like Chris Bilski at Michigan State and Carl Leone at Oakland. I mean, they give me way too much credit. They made me look real good. We'll just say that. But they're all awesome. So
again, just demonstrating the power of Michigan, right? Everybody you named doing well in this state. Actually, Bilski was our last guest on the podcast, so which is always fun. But had him up here before his break, which was nice. But yeah, I'm super excited for the future of esports in the industry, especially having you here, creating a powerhouse institution here at Ferris with what we can do, with the resources provided.
Yeah.
A lot of people are becoming fans of us, and I see that continuing going forward. Especially the students. We have phenomenal students this year. A ton of our best students have shown up strong. Really thankful for the administration, for the student staff. They said, hey, you can hire as many student workers as you want. Let's make it happen. And it's been fantastic.
Awesome. That's awesome. And I'm excited to hopefully make the alumni proud, and those students graduating, that they're proud that they put into something that is something to be proud of. I'm really excited. Alumni support is something I always love seeing, and that starts with supporting our students. So, yeah,
absolutely.
I'm excited.
We have an alumni tournament August 22nd. If you guys want to participate in that, anybody watching, the way we're structuring that tournament is we want to do on-campus events at everybody's campus. So for us, we're going to be inviting alumni back to Ferris. They're going to check out our new building. It's going to be our first big test run for our stream equipment, all this new graphics, and then we'll play online in a little mini kind of Bandwidth Bowl style tournament for all the different games, where each school will hopefully put together one roster of all their alumni. But I was hoping that talking to a lot of the other schools, they wanted to do alumni-focused events as well, and if we can kind of make it one big concerted effort. I know that, me personally too, I want to play against that Western team that I played back in 2019. I know you were there for that tournament, actually. I developed the Bandwidth Bowl to get revenge for that tournament, and we ended up beating them in the Bandwidth Bowl. So now I developed an alumni tournament to go back and beat that same team as well. I messaged one of their players like 2 minutes after I sent the tweet, and he's like, one of the other guys already sent it to me. So I'm excited to bring back a lot of those like old school rivalries and fun between the different teams. And a lot of my alumni have been asking to come back and do stuff. We haven't had a facility. This is our first semester even with an on-campus facility. We had that practice facility in the dorm that's going to stay there. But now we all actually have a facility to bring people into. Another fun thing about us on campus, so the practice facility, 10 computers in the 3070s in the esports dorm, that's going to stay there, and esports players get first dibs on that dorm. So esports players can say, hey, I want to go to the facility and live there. So if you're interested in doing it, we already have 10 people signed up. Keep signing up. But any final thoughts from you, Coach Antor?
No, I thank you for having me, and I'll shout out the Ferris State admins and my future fellow faculty, for their, I guess, vote of confidence in what they've done the last couple of years, including yourself, in developing this curriculum. And I am so excited to get started. I've got the countdown going, and it cannot come soon enough. I am like halfway packed. I'm getting ready to move back to the great state of Michigan. I have to wait like another month so it's not 40 degrees. Like
Yep.
I can do 50, but 40, it's going to be rough next winter. Let's just put it out that way. But yeah, I'm really excited to move back and to continue building something really cool up there. Yeah.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on all the socials. You know where that is. Thanks, Adam Antor, for joining us today.
Thank you.